Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Cool. Welcome, everybody, back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I'm your host, Andy Burrows. Yes, I've made 2 shows in a row. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Unheard of. As you can see or hear, I'm joined by my illustrious co-host and really good friend, Mr. Adam Cousins. Adam, how are you, fella?
I'm all good. Yeah, 2 review shows in a row. What
I
do
know.
I owe this pleasure?
I know what's going on. I felt bad, mate. I took a week off, and well, not a week off. I just work got in the way. Work and life gets in the way. But you and I are here to talk Monday Night Raw and last night's WWE NXT. Our first review went down so well. WWE NXT No Mercy. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in on YouTube. I see it's doing really well. So here we are doing it again, mate. But let's start off with a Monday Night Raw, shall we, Ads?
Yep. All right. Well, it kind of begun with a big fight. Nia Jax trying to decimate everyone possible in the women's division, and then obviously Rhea Ripley come out. Raquel Rodriguez, they're all brawling, all the falls there. But it made a change not to start with a long-winded promo, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the reception that Marmy got. Did you hear? I thought it was like that's probably the first time I've heard the WWE crowd react like that just for her. The chants were. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. And I can guarantee WWE heard that and seen that and went, oh, hang on a minute. Maybe I know she's with the Judgment Day and there's more Judgment Day storylines going on than Katie Price has had husbands, but it was good to hear because the reaction from the crowd I thought was good. But yeah, it was an interesting start to. I've got some thoughts on the whole referees coming out and breaking it up, which was what happened later on in the show. And there wasn't an official to be seen, but that's a solid start. It's going to be interesting to see what they're doing with Nia now. Are they really going to try and push her as this badass and this up against the world kind of thing? But yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate.
Well, the reaction just proves that Mammy's always on top, isn't she? That's what she says.
Oh, God.
That's what she says. But then it followed the customary interview, the customary kickoff. It wasn't a very happy Mammy, though, was it? She wasn't impressed with the fact that Dominic lost the title. There's been a lot of issues with the Judgment Day. Damian Priest decides to push it up a little notch as well by saying Dominic hasn't got his title. And she basically says, if Dominic doesn't win the rematch on NXT against Trick Williams, then he'll be having a few issues, shall we say. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll string him up by 1 ball bag and not 2, as she normally does. But that brought out Jey Uso, which obviously he was even saying, "We've all missed you, Rhea." It's just a bit of another one from last week. But Finn wasn't there due to there was a couple of them missing due to injury. Priest weren't because it was meant to be Priest versus Jey.
Mm-hmm.
Priest wasn't cleared. Finn was injured and wasn't even at Raw. So it kind of made an interesting start to the show. But it was just, I think it was just kind of like a run-of-the-mill promo, really.
Finn wasn't injured at Raw, but it was at NXT the next.
Exactly that. But he did say that Dominic says that he's going to take care of Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes comes out, and then they announced that at Fastlane, Cody and Jey will take on Finn and Priest for the tag team titles. Overall, again, I think it was just a run-of-the-mill promo, really, but it sets up a couple of good things, one for the night and one for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't see. Can you see them winning the tag team titles at Fastlane? I can't.
I think what we're going to get into later, I'd say no.
Yeah, I reckon there's going to be some sort of interference or something will happen, and it's interesting to see where they're going with this whole Judgment Day thing, because again, Raw was very Judgment Day heavy. Don't get me wrong, it was a good show, but like me and you mentioned 3 or 4 weeks ago now, Raw was getting very much what SmackDown was for the Bloodline. The Raw was becoming for the Judgment Day. So yeah, Fastlane, the card looks really good, actually. I know there's not a lot of people like, well, they need to announce more matches. I think it's fine. I don't think they need to announce any more matches. There's big rumors today that Jade Cargill is going to debut at Fastlane. I don't know if you saw that, mate.
Yeah, I did. It'd be interesting to see where. I know that she's meant to be now, as you showed just yesterday, meant to be starting on the Raw brand.
There was vicious rumors going around circling that she's. I mean, still like to see her kick off in NXT, if I'm honest, even if it's just for a couple of weeks. But we can get into the whole NXT. I don't think there's brands. I don't think NXT seen as how it used to be seen.
No,
I
it's
know
not
we're
third
kind
brand.
of. I know we're kind of segueing here, but a lot of things that I've read today were like view NXT as you'd view Raw and SmackDown now. I think from what's going on and who's going back, and we'll get into who's there next week later on in the show. But I just view it as Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT, SmackDown, Raw. I don't see it as Raw's the main brand, SmackDown's the second brand, NXT's developmental. I think the way that they're going now, them days are gone. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just we know how stupid the draft is anyway. So
I won't get you started on that.
Yeah, we won't start on that. So anyone goes anywhere. That's basically it, and that's evident next week. But we know there's reasons for that. But we are seeing more stars dropping down to NXT or swapping or moving on to a show for a week or whatever else. So yeah, I don't think NXT is necessarily the third brand anymore, but it's one that's still got some excitement about it.
Yeah, I mean, we said on our last review show, NXT, we've said last week NXT was the best show that WWE done.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it more than Raw, and SmackDown's good at the minute. I will give them that, but I'm enjoying NXT pretty much as I'm say more than Raw. I liked Raw this week, but at the minute NXT is my favorite. I'm enjoying just like the content that I like, and I know each to their own, but I'm enjoying NXT right now. And for me, out of the 3 shows, I'm enjoying it the most.
Yeah, I like it. I like NXT out of all 3 at the minute. Raw still, I think Raw's 3 hours. I'm always going to be. It's always going to.
You're right with your 2 hour thing, mate. Yeah, that's gonna. I think they need it. I think it's going to be. This week didn't drag, but it was times of it. I was like, this is, they need to go to the 2 hours, in my opinion.
Yeah, it got to that stage. But then we moved into a tag, the Alpha Academy, again, with having this issue with Imperium. It seems to never go away at the minute. But I love, I mean, the Imperium guys can go. I think we mentioned before, we're big fans of Gable. But Ludwig Kaiser and Vinci can both wrestle very, very well indeed. And I think this match actually managed to showcase a little bit of that. And obviously he's still trying to get with Maxine Dupree, isn't he, Kaiser? But it's a really good tag match. I really like that start to Raw. Imperium did get the win on this one, which I think is needed after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was needed. The only issue I had with it was the finish. Who the fuck wins a match with an insecurity?
Well,
I know he fell off the rope, and come on, dude.
Well, if you think about it, Adam Cole and they won it with a double clothesline.
Say no more. No comment. I'll get in trouble.
Don't. We're going to get into that in a little while.
Yeah, I'll get in trouble.
Obviously, we saw the picture of Becky's lacerated shoulder, which was
very bad.
Nice. Which means that she couldn't be cleared to compete to take on Tegan Nox. But Chelsea Green randomly comes in, and Tegan Nox now has her as a match later on. There's an issue with McIntyre that Adam Pearce is noticing the change with McIntyre, which we all know where that's going and where that's leading to. And then finally, there was a bit with Priest and JD McDonough, where Priest was getting the ump because he didn't want to defend the titles. JD McDonough was there with Rhea, and they're still playing on that side. Then finally, we move on to a match, and I thought Cedric Alexander had been released. So my surprise when he popped up on my screen. And then Bronson Reed, as usual, comes out to crickets from the crowd, which was annoying because I really like the guy. And Bronson,
he should be someone they put back in NXT.
I think so.
For story development, not because he's crap.
No.
Just because I'm with you, mate. I don't think he's getting over at all on Raw. I think it's tumbleweed time. And I'm with you. I really enjoy watching him. Yeah. I just think the crowd just, I don't know what it is with him. They just can't seem to take with him. I mean,
nope.
Don't get me wrong. He won on Raw and it was good. And I kind of enjoyed it. But I think creatively wise, I'm sending him back to, I say back because I said at the start of the show, NXT isn't developmental anymore. But
no, it's not. No.
He's done wonders for Baron Corbin.
Yep.
Why not the same for Bronson Reed? I mean, I'd get him in a storyline down there somehow. But it was good to see. I enjoyed it, but the crowd were dead.
Yeah, the crowd just not getting it with him, are they? But he wins with the Wade Barrett tsunami, as he says on
That's funny.
commentary.
Yeah, that's funny. That.
But yeah, it was a relatively short and sweet contest.
Mm.
Cedric deserves better as well.
Yeah.
Maybe go back to NXT for him.
Mm.
It was rubbing off on Ali, and they would make big plans of him, and then they released him.
Yeah, he was meant to win the
Yeah,
North American title, wasn't he? Yeah, and that's
he
all.
was, and then
Yeah.
that went anyway. I hate contract signings at the best of times, especially when they do it in the ring, because you know it's never going to end up the way it should end up. Ciampa and Gunter had their one, and basically, long story short, they made the match for Raw.
Yeah, because it literally just scheduled for Fastlane, wasn't it? And
It
then
was. So now
I'm
what's
guessing,
going to happen at Fastlane is the question with them. But there is something that happens at the end of Raw, which won't really go on to Fastlane, much for the Intercontinental title side. And that was crickets as well. We'll talk about that in more detail. But yeah, it was run-of-the-mill contract signing just without no one going put through a table and the match being announced for that night.
Yeah, it was just obviously something's happened that we don't know, that the match has got moved from a pay-per-view. Ciampa, we'll get into what happened at the end of Raw in a minute. Interesting to see what happens with him. I liked his things. I really liked his work in NXT, the original. I say original NXT, but back when he was in NXT, I just think he hasn't found his feet on the main roster yet. And I say main roster, but I don't think there is main roster anymore. I just don't think he's found his feet. In saying that, when we get to the actual match, it was it was a humdinger. But yeah, Ciampa, again, mate, I don't know. Me and you say this all the time. I think he's getting lost in the mix. I know he had a quote unquote championship match, but let's be honest, mate, Gunter's never fucking going for that, beating a honky tonk man and then dropping it to Ciampa on Monday Night Raw in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. So yeah, it was a contract sign. It was good not to see someone go through a table and set up the main event.
Set up the main event, and this next match, which was Ivar and Woods. How many more great matches are we going to see out of Ivar? Especially, I mean, the New Day
really
know
good
what to expect with the New
His
Day.
tag team partner getting injured was probably one of the best things that could happen to him.
Yeah, old Eric getting injured.
Yeah,
Probably
5-star matches, mate. He's good. He's really good, and for a big dude, he can fly.
Yeah,
Which as a wrestling fan, you're not used to seeing that. And yeah, again, another with Xavier Woods. It was a good match. Obviously, Kofi on commentary, and we thought we knew where they were going with this storyline. Obviously, they had to go on 360 with this storyline because obviously it involved my mate Matt Riddle and Drew, and obviously that's all gone pear shaped. So I'm guessing they're flipping this a little bit 360. But yeah, mate, there's a Viking Raiders match next week. Viking
rules
rules
match next week.
Yeah, they're always fun.
They're always just a fucking
Just a bloodbath.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. But yeah, Woods, as you say, Woods picks up the win afterwards. Ivar absolutely decimates both of them, which was nice to see. Got a bit more about Becky and Tegan again. No, Beck was just basically saying she'll get a shot. Then we had the Michael Cole interview with Seth Rollins. Seth mentions Michael Cole's only missed 2 Raws in 26 years, or 2 shows in 26 years. Goes on about the Shinsuke Nakamura, and then Nakamura again comes out to beat him up and just basically make sure he doesn't get up to a count of 10, so keeps hitting him with a load of moves. It's just becoming, as much as I love this new version of Nakamura, I just found this so repetitive over the last month that it's getting a little bit tedious.
2 things with this. One, why, don't get me wrong, I know wrestling, it's scripted, don't get me wrong, no, it's scripted, it's entertainment. But why are we getting loads of officials come out at the start of Raw with Nia Jax and all the girls beating the living bejesus out of each other? Well, not really. And then poor old Seth's getting absolutely clubbered to death with a chair, and there's not one WWE official in sight. Yeah, hang on a minute. But I said to you when me and you were texting backwards and forwards at the weekend, because obviously WWE's announced that they're going to Japan for Monday Night Raw soon-ish. So I think Shinsuke gets the title this weekend. I think that's the title change. And WWE aren't stupid. They know if they're going to go with, or they keep it on Seth and he wins it in Japan.
Yeah.
I personally think that Shinsuke wins this weekend. I don't know how. I think it'll be something that we look back on and go, oh, that's setting up something else in typical wrestling storyline. Yeah, I like where they're going with Shinsuke, but I'm kind of with you. It's kind of the same every week. And I know you can say that a lot about a lot of wrestling storylines. You really can. But this one's kind of, and the whole, having to put up the words so the crowd can hear what he's saying in Japanese, and it's all like, okay. But yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to the match at Fastlane. I think it'll be really good. But yeah, I think Shinsuke wins.
He may well do. It makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of it until you pointed it out. Actually, that they're in
They're
Japan.
going to Japan in what, 3-4 weeks, something like that. Maybe not even that. It's soon. It's very soon. I know that. So WWE aren't stupid. Like we said, what, 3 weeks ago, put the strap on him for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, couple of weeks. It don't matter. We're going to get to NXT later. Title reigns don't really matter if it's 3 days. So yeah, they could potentially put it on him, and then and you don't forget you've got Damien with the briefcase still.
Yeah, he's still got that, hasn't he? That needs to get cashed in at some point. Definitely, well, it will get cashed in at some point. It's just whether or not he'll cash in and win it. But the next match just weren't even worth it, was it? Tegan Knox, Chelsea Green, 3 minutes. I'd finished by the time I'd finished my coffee. That match was done.
Yeah, next.
Next, McIntyre. I do love the McIntyre.
I love Miz.
And it's just like it was kind of going on from last week, where every time Miz was talking, Drew McIntyre was like, "Shut up, Miz! Shut up, Miz!"
I wish just turn him heel now. Just hurry up and get on with it, Drew.
Yeah.
I mean, just turn him heel and either let him run down his contract and go where we think he's probably going, or do something meaningful with him, because the dragging out. When the heel turns happen, it's good when they're instantaneous. It's easy for me to say. This one, wrestling fans aren't stupid. Well, I say wrestling fans aren't stupid. I've been on our CT Buckle Twitter today. I maybe beg to differ. Just turn him heel already, will you? Because I think he'll be really good at it. We're kind of already liking the heel side of him. Just do it. Don't wait till Fastlane or wherever you're going to do it. Just turn him full badass heel.
Because he's done it in this match. He exposed steel post, hit him on the steps, done all that. And coincidentally, he didn't use the Claymore.
No, he didn't.
He went probably back to the Future Shock. Which does that mean the song's going back?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Good point, mate.
I hope so.
Let's hope so, mate. Yeah, no, much better. Yeah, just turn him in.
Yeah, anyway, the whole Miz segment ended up with them into having a fight, and McIntyre clip wins. Miz has got a worse record than your Commanders have.
That's me. I'll be back in a month. I've enjoyed my stint back on HCT.
I went there. I couldn't say Tottenham because we both are, and they're not.
Mate. Let's not talk. Yeah, bloody hell, Liverpool and VAR and Jesus. Let's not do that right now.
No, let's not. Yeah. They had Trick Williams on, but for an interview, Rhea Ripley tells Dominic that he won't be going to NXT alone. There's a little bit about Chad Gable off doing a bit of encouragement to Otis, but he's also saying he'll get revenge on Imperium, and he still wants the Intercontinental title, which I still think that'll be he'll be the one that dethrones Gunther.
Yeah,
I think. Nia, and they also announced, as you said, the Viking rules match plus Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez. And then they had a bit with Cody Rhodes, and they just basically saying he was going to win the tournament, to win the tag titles with Jey Uso, and said, "Thanks, guys." and then we went on to, as you say, the humdinger of the main event with Gunther and Ciampa, which was a really, really good match. Won by referee stoppage by Gunther. At the end, as we said, Imperium come out and they all attacked him, and then miraculous, we have this massive return. The fans go absolutely dead for Johnny Gargano returning, and you could hear a mouse fart.
It was. He's come out of catering at last, and it was a shit reaction. Everyone, I don't know, in the crowd seemed to die. And don't get me wrong, I love Gargano. I think he's great. He's in the ring. There's not many better than him in the world. And you put him and Ciampa together. We all know the history in NXT and stuff like that. And even when the first birth came up to Raw. But it was a bit of a damp squid. It was a very weird way for Raw to go off the air. I don't know about you. I obviously watched on BT Sport, TNT Sport.
Yeah.
It went off the air before the end. They went to do the kick.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. Obviously, you watched the same. I thought it was maybe. Did it go off air for you? I was just like, is that my telly or no? Yeah, Raw's gone off. Yeah, I was great. Raw's gone off the air before it's actually finished. So, it was a very weird ending to Raw. But I suppose, like you said at the start, it was a different way to start Raw. It was definitely a different way to end Raw. Well, different people that were probably not necessarily thinking main event Raw. Is this WWE going, all right, let's put the feelers out. Let's see what's happening. Let's change it up. I mean, they've got to. You've got to move with the times. And Raw was solid.
Yeah, it was solid, if not
7 out of
with not
10.
spectacular. Yeah, 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't mind DIY as a tag team. Again,
No.
maybe that'll get a bit more reaction going forward. I mean, it's not as if the crowd were bad. The crowd was fine.
No, they
It was
weren't
just
terrible, but it's just like when you expect, Gargano comes out and you're thinking, I don't think the problem is when you get comebacks, you're probably scaling it on 2 weeks ago and you got The Rock come out and when Austin's ever come back and you think of comebacks and you just think of the crowd going absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
Poor old Johnny comes out and the old tumbleweeds are,
exactly.
I felt a bit sorry for him, mate.
I did as well, but we'll see. Next week's another week. But now we move on to NXT, depending on the way you look at it. It started with the man herself. It was Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, Indy Hartwell, and Roxanne Perez. I found it interesting that the fans were booing Roxanne Perez.
I know.
She's meant to be one of the top heels. Basically, there was having a back and forth, shall we say. And they're going to have it. They ended up with Valkyria, Hartwell, and Perez having a triple threat later. And one of them will face Becky Lynch at night 1 of Halloween Havoc. In a couple of weeks. So Becky should be cleared, obviously. She should be cleared. Oh no, she's not defending at Fastlane, is she? So, they'll go for that. The first match though was Butch and Tyler Bate against Gallus. A lot better than the one that we saw at the weekend from these guys.
Much better.
Yeah, a lot better. And obviously, Butch and Tyler Bate picking up the win by a pinfall. And I loved it. It was a great tag match to start NXT.
Old school. Yeah, old school tag match. Yeah. Again, I wish I'd stopped saying Butch, though. He's still, the Brawling Brutes aren't a thing anymore. They're not they're not a thing anymore. Well, they were kind of who helped him out at the end of the match, but Sheamus isn't around. And interesting to see what they're going to do with Sheamus moving forward, because he doesn't really get mentioned with that group anymore. Even though
he's out injured.
I know he's injured, yes, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. But it was a really solid start to NXT. Obviously, you had the women cutting the promo, then the match. NXT was very women heavy, which was good. Yes. Obviously you had the start of the tournament, you had the the promo at the beginning, you had some really good matches. But the tag match at the start was good. Obviously there was interference at the end, setting up moving forward, and then Matey Boy come out from the Brawling Brutes and interfered, and Ridge, he come out and evened it up. So I'm guessing that's maybe setting up a little 3-on-3 or 6-man next week on NXT. But next week on NXT, you're gonna have to find room for them. Yeah,
we'll get into that in a minute. Then come a segment between Ilya Dragunov, Trick, Carmelo, and Dom. Obviously, Dragunov's the new NXT champion, and then Trick Williams surprisingly come out and was like, "Well, I kind of want you in a match," and then Carmelo was like, "What's going on here?" See, him and Trick are together, and they're like, they were then sort of maybe saying he wasn't ready for Dominic Mysterio. And then I think the card that was played here, which was trying to get Carmelo Hayes not to go out with Trick Williams, so the Judgment Day had the advantage, and it worked 100%, because then Trick Williams says, "I don't want you at the ring tonight, Carmelo.
Do it on my own." Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to see what they're going to go to that. I mean, we were talking on the No Mercy review about is going to be call-ups. It looks like they're both staying on NXT.
At least for another week.
Yeah, at least. Well, Carmelo, I think he'll stay around for a little bit. It was interesting to see what they do, and obviously you know why he said that now, because what we're going to get to in a minute is set up. Going to be one of the craziest weeks in wrestling next week for NXT anyway. It sets something up moving forward. But it was good. Poor old Trick though. Obviously we can get into it, but I don't know what the plan was there, or why they done what they done. We can get into that with Dominic Mysterio, but it was good, mate. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. Following up then speaking of good, was the triple threat women's match. The winner takes on Becky Lynch at night 1 of Halloween Havoc. Really good match. I really did enjoy this women's match. They've done really good, as you said, showcasing the women on this. But they ended up with Valkyria winning the match, which was with a flying splash, and then she had a standoff. But I really enjoyed this women's triple threat. Don't know about you.
Yeah, no, really enjoyed it, mate. I like what NXT are doing with the women right now. It's probably the best version of the women's division in all of WWE, SmackDown, Raw, etc., etc. I like with it. The only thing that I didn't like was they're like, "Oh well, your winner's going to get Becky at Halloween Havoc when she's meant to have a match on." She's been the match is happening. Tegan Knox is happening next week on Raw. It's like, well, you know, like you say when you do your NWA stuff, at least when they say that, if they mention if she wins on, you know, so and so event, well, why don't WWE do that? If Becky can
them
get
and
through,
Impact do it really well.
Yeah, I know Tegan Knox come out at the end and had a little stare off and all that, but you know, as a wrestling fan, even at the start of the show when they're doing the promo, going, "I want Becky Lynch," you're like, "Oh, well, there's no point watching the match next Monday then because we all know Becky's going over." You know, and that's where you like we say when you and Fiona review NWA, that's what they do really well. They kind of explain, they don't dumb it down for wrestling fans. I know we're wrestling fans, but you know, we're not stupid. You know, so that was the only thing that I thought was a bit dumb. But apart from that, NXT, mate, you know, obviously the women on the NXT show yesterday was incredible, and obviously we kicked off the tournament, and it was really good, mate. I'm glad to see that. That's where they are still kind of developmental because you can see what's coming through, and you're like, okay, this is good. I like to see this.
Exactly that, and we'll get into more women in a minute. But
we will.
Yeah, couple of backstage segments next. Carmelo Hayes interestingly runs into Braun Breaker at this point, and he did make a point this when Breaker was like, you know, you need to take that frustration out on Trick Williams because he wasn't there when you walked through the gorilla after his loss because he's selfish. And then we had another interesting bit, which was Ilya Dragunov with Baron Corbin. And he was the only man that's defeated Dragunov now. And because obviously he beat Hayes. I know Hayes beat him, but he beat Hayes at the weekend. So it should be interesting that where that goes. But we follow up with yet another women's match, which was Blair Davenport and Gigi Dolan, used to be Toxic Attraction. In the end, there's a lot of bits of this with Davenport and the referee. And then once Gigi rolled her up and got the victory, she took the frustration out on the referee and basically says, "This is far from over."
You poke his fingers down his throat or something.
Something mad like that.
What's going on there?
Isn't it nice that we don't see it? This is the women's actually doing it and not the men in terms of attacking referees. I know Ronda Rousey done it and stuff like that. A little bit. That happened a little bit on Raw, but it's nice to see it happening a bit more now with the women's side getting that sort of exposure.
Yeah, no, mate. Honestly, what NXT are doing with the women right now, and again, I hope they just don't do what they've done in the past and build them up and get them to where they got to be, and then just completely fucking ruin them, and they're just gone into the mist, and you never see them again. They're on some indie show in Alabama on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean? So, it was good, mate. It was another good match. I don't think NXT had really many bad matches for me. I really thought the whole night was good.
Yeah, it was good. Now we get into some interesting bits. They go backstage with Kilana James, and she said that Roxanne Perez has been the golden girl ever since she's arrived at NXT, but she wasn't going to allow Perez to get another title shot. And it was her mission to improve to the entire NXT universe that she's above Perez. But then she goes on saying if Perez wants to have a match with Kilana James, she must go through someone who basically is undefeated in NXT, and that person is Asuka. So next week, Roxanne Perez takes on Asuka on NXT.
Yeah, we all know what's going on next Tuesday.
For those people that don't know,
the Dynamite is obviously going to be on Tuesday because of the World Series in baseball is on Wednesday night. So AEW have moved,
and their ratings can't take that much more of a hit.
No, I put a tweet out on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Do ratings, in your opinion, really matter anymore in wrestling? I'm talking for the fans. I'm not talking me and you have got into TV deals and Fox and USA and, TNT and everything like that. I get all of that. But as a pure wrestling fan, as you, as Adam Cousins, me as Andy Burroughs, do you really care about ratings? Is ratings a thing anymore? Back in the day, and like I said on social media today, you had to choose one or the other. Me and you didn't have Sky. We couldn't record on Sky. We didn't have, back in the old, our friends in America, DVRs weren't a thing. You had to either pick Raw or Nitro.
Yeah.
You had to pick WWE or WCW. Now the way that content is consumed, is ratings really, outside of the TV executives, to wrestling fans, does ratings really matter? I've had a bee in my bonnet about this all day. I've seen people going backwards and forwards on Twitter. Oh, well, WWE have done this because Dynamite's next Wednesday. Well, if Dynamite is so confident in what they're doing, go up against the baseball.
Yeah.
Don't move to Tuesdays. You chose to move to Tuesdays. You know what I mean? So obviously all these the executives want ratings. I get that.
Yeah.
As a fan, just enjoy what's going. So as soon as they announced Oscar, it was, WWE are only doing it because Dynamite's going. And just enjoy absolutely everything. You get the chance now next week to watch Dynamite. You get to watch NXT, Raw, SmackDown, Collision, Rampage. I think I put out on our social media today. I don't think fans realize today how lucky they are. Me and you had to choose one or the other back in the day.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to watch it, and even when it was we had it on a Friday night, it was Raw and Nitro ran side by side.
Yep.
Very lucky you might have had a video recorder. You can hit the old play and record together and you could tape one of them on the old VHS. But now with Fight TV, with everything that's going on, with you can record on Sky, catch up on Sky. The next night, the highlights are on with no adverts. So for me, this whole ratings and this everyone wants to start what me and you know as the Monday Night Wars. They're trying to start this Tuesday Night War. It's only for 1 week.
A week.
It's 1 week. Are we really that stupid as wrestling fans that we've all got to tweet each other backwards and forwards? Today, I saw some ridiculous things on social media. Just enjoy wrestling. Oscars on NXT, great. We're going to get into who else is on there, but I don't. What do you think? Do you think ratings really matter now to the wrestling fan? I get the executives, but I don't get why these wrestling fans. You've seen enough of it today, probably on our Twitter feed. All these people going backwards and forwards. Whoever this AEW super fan is, fucking probably some virgin sitting in his mum's basement with his Star Trek socks on. I mean, come on, dude. Just enjoy all wrestling.
Yeah, I think it matters to the tribalistic fans, but I really couldn't care less. And
I know we have banter with Dave and Parker and all that, but just enjoy. I'm going to watch you. I know you guys are obviously Dave and Parker, and you guys do the AEW shows. I watch AEW.
Yeah.
I will admit that I'm not overly interested in reviewing it, but I still watch it. And fucking Adam Copeland's there now, so of course you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
What better time now to be a wrestling fan?
There is no better time to be a wrestling fan, and people were soon moaning when WWE won the last war and they have nothing left, and they're just going the same way now.
Thank you. The amount of people that used to say, "Well, it's only WWE's the only content that we've got." People used to be like, "Well, back in we had Impact, we had TNA, what it was then. We had the old Ring of Honor, we've had ECW, we had this is nothing new."
No.
But like I said a minute ago, AEW chose to move from a Wednesday to come to Tuesday. These big executives at these TV networks, don't expect them not to react, because that's where they get their millions. That's where they get the viewer. The more viewing figures they get, the more money they get. But as the wrestling fan, as in me, you, and everyone that's listening to this show, I couldn't give a shit. Next week's going to be amazing. I'm going to watch NXT. I'm going to watch Dynamite. I'm going to watch Raw. I'm going to watch SmackDown. Collision. You can. What a time to be a wrestling fan.
It's a great time. Just enjoy it and let it play out.
Let it play out. And like you said, it's 1 week. This isn't going to be a regular Tuesday thing unless AEW go, oh, hang on a minute. That was good.
Yeah, it's 1 week. There's no need to shut things down unless you're a certain other content provider that doesn't like talking about ratings unless it suits them. Anyway, anyway.
And people say it's me that usually does that.
Well, come on. It's
okay.
Something stupid. Anyway, women's breakout time. Kalani Jordan, Izzy Dharm, first round. Yes. For two women that we haven't seen, well, I suppose they're on a level up.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about them, mate. But...
No, good win. Good like the split-legged moonsault to win. Kalani Jordan won that with a split-legged moonsault. I thought it was a decent match for two people I've never really seen before anyway.
No, it's, this tournament's always about bringing up stars. It's done it in the past. It's going to do it again. It was a good match. I was like, oh, hello, who are these two? It's kind of, you just got to go into it with an open mind with these kind of tournaments. It's WWE going, right. It's basically them saying, let's have a look at the future. Let's have a look at what we can do with you. Where can we put you? Would you be good on a Raw? Would you be good on a SmackDown? Does your character fit this way? You look at when Becky Lynch was very first in NXT. She come out with the Irish green tassels, and she looked a bit like a flipping Bailey when she she was coming out doing an Irish jig, and that was in some sort of tournament. And this is where WWE are going, okay, this part of our show is developmental. This is like the old ICW. We haven't got ICW anymore. So what we're going to do, we're going to put you on TV in our tournament, and you can either sink or swim.
Yeah,
and I thought it was good, mate. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I didn't have a fucking clue who they were, but I really enjoyed it.
No, exactly. Me too. And now come the next bit where we just spoke about what's going on next week. So how can WWE load up a show anymore? Well, here we go. They announced that Carmelo Hayes was taking on Braun Breaker in a match. Carmelo Hayes has now added to his corner John Cena from a phone call. And then after that bit was announced, they also announced that Cody Rhodes would make his NXT debut with a major announcement.
The Dusty Rhodes tournament's coming back.
Could be that. Could be the acquisition. It could be that he's moving to SmackDown as part of the trade compensation that they got from Jay. And then we go straight into a promo by the wise man, Paul Heyman. Now, this could be interesting because I think this may be setting up something that he's going to be in the corner of Braun Breaker. Now, they did mention it's because of John Cena and all of that sort of stuff. Could be that Braun Breaker is the next A, Paul Heyman guy, or B, the next member of the Bloodline. A new member. Potentially. Maybe. I don't know.
Bloodline with no blood.
Well, he's got blood. He just doesn't have to be, he could be another solo. I don't know.
Sami Zayn 2.0.
There you go. An honorary oos.
Honorary oos.
As they say. Yeah.
I thought a bit like that. I don't know. Obviously Paul Heyman was on at the end of NXT we'll get into the main event in a minute, but obviously Heyman was there saying he's going to be, John Cena's got in Bloodline, but they kind of done it well. Let's call a spade a spade. They're doing it because, these executives are saying, no, we want our viewing figures next week. And obviously in the fair play to AEW, they've already advertised that Edge is going to be making his wrestling debut
against Luchasaurus.
Against Lucha. Look, it might be great. It's probably going to be shit, but I would rather, when Adam Copeland talked about going up against John Moxley and people like, when that happens,
that's interesting.
Then you're going to get eyes on your product because that's going to be effing incredible. Edge versus Samoa Joe. Oh wow, it's going to be unbelievable. See that's good. Luchasaurus.
We'll see.
Surely they're just going to get to Edge versus Christian at some stage.
At some point,
that's going to be the main one. But as for like Cena and everything being on NXT and all these people losing their minds on social media today, just enjoy it. Like I said earlier, I don't get why people are losing their minds over this. And there's like me and you have seen. We go backwards and forwards with David Park all the time, where we have a laugh about it. And AEW, and everyone knows me and you are predominantly WWE guys, but we're not that naive to not enjoy all wrestling. And you've only got to see what the wrestler. Kenny Omega put out a great tweet, or I saw something from him saying, we have friends in WWE, we want them to do well. WWE have friends in AEW, they want them to do well. There's people in Impact, there's people in NWA. This isn't a thing amongst the wrestlers. It really isn't. Jay Cargill's gone to WWE, and a lot of the AEW roster have tweeted saying, good luck, I wish you well, my friend. Things like that. So this isn't a thing amongst wrestlers. This is a thing amongst virgins in their mum's basement. Making this a thing, and they're all screenshotting these and you get Dave Meltzer sending out these stupid tweets. People tell me WWE don't care. Their executives care. They want ratings. Ratings equals money. Money equals advertising. That's just basic business. You know what I mean? If I'm running a podcast on a Wednesday night and you're running it on a Tuesday night, and that's getting that amount of rating live on YouTube, you're thinking, hang on a minute, I might go on Wednesday nights because they're making that amount. And then as an executive, that's how they think.
Yeah.
As for wrestling fans, fuck my life. Stop being idiots and just enjoy what's about to happen next week. We had this every week for God knows how many years. Years and years and years we had this every Monday night, Friday for us in the UK.
5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, we had it for 4 or 5 years, and we watched Raw and we watched Nitro, or we somehow, when we could record on VHS, we maybe caught up on Nitro. But then when Nitro are picking up, I'll openly admit that I'm like, I want to see what they're going to do here. Raw's, I already know. But Eric Bischoff was very clever. Like you met him at Inside the Ropes a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure he might have spoken about it because Raw was taped. They could give away a lot of what happened, and that really helped Nitro out. Apart from when they fucked up and told everyone that Mick Foley was about to win the title, when everyone switched over. Eric Bischoff has admitted, was a mistake, and if he wouldn't have done that. But he was in the ring doing something there anyway. As a wrestling fan and as a consumer, just enjoy what's happening next week. Stop sitting on social media moaning about it. Just for 1 week, enjoy what we had for many weeks growing up. And it's going to be interesting. Next week, the screenshots of so-called ratings is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a joke.
Yeah, I might take a break next week.
I'll take a Twitter break, basically.
Yeah. So we move on to the next one. JC Jane and Thea Hall. So JC Jane's been molding Thea Hall into this new Thea Hall. She was with Andre Chase and Duke Hudson. They took on Loda Vice and Electra Lopez. JC Jane and Thea Hall won. There was no surprise with that, really. There was a Kimura lock that Hall made Lopez tap to. Wasn't surprised for it. I just like the new look of this JC Jane Thea Hall team.
Yeah, just again, it's something there's people that haven't seen NXT before, or like I say, Jane's new look. It was good.
Yeah,
it's another thing to say. Oh, I'll keep watching this. It's it's interesting, and that's why I like NXT at the minute, because it does make me want to watch next week.
It does. Now we move to the main event, which was the Trick Williams Dom Mysterio North American title rematch from 3 days prior at No Mercy. Initially, I think it was just Mammy was at ringside with Dom. They start the match off. It was nice little bits. Then Williams hit a belly-to-belly suplex, and all of a sudden, out comes Priest and Balor, and the match carries on, You know where I'm going to go with this, because it happens most Judgment Day matches. This happens just as it looks like Dominic Mysterio's out. Here comes JD McDonough. He got slid into the ring, got hit with a pump knee strike, and then Mysterio grabs the briefcase, hits Trick Williams, and wins the NXT North American Championship for the second time, 3 days after losing it. And that was when NXT went off the air.
Yeah, I'm guessing they've got plans for Trick or that. I don't get why they've done it. Why not just keep it on Dom? I'm guessing they're going to get to the whole Carmelo and Trick, and that's where they're going to go with that. I think they're going to turn on each other, and something's going to happen. And then you've got Braun Breaker into the mix. And then, I don't know, does Paul Heyman stick around for a little bit, or is it just a one-off? I don't know why they've done that whole 3-day thing, but, people are saying, oh, they've only done it for a day. Came on the WWF title for one night on King of the Ring, and then Austin beat him the next night. So it's not something that WWE ever done before. All these people sitting there today tweeting, oh, I can't believe WWE have done this. Why would they give someone a 3-day title reign? Happens. It used to happen all the time back in the day. Constantly used to happen. Just because at the minute we've got Roman and Gunther with the longest title reigns in recent history. This used to be a thing back in the day, and they've obviously got a plan for what they're doing, and there was obviously reasons for doing it, and maybe there's going to be a call up to Raw. Maybe we could see Trick go after Dominic's. I think the whole issue is we need to stop maybe suspending the belief of we'll only see you on Raw. We'll only see, like you said at the very start of the show, the draft thing is out the window.
Yeah,
gone of now. Your NXT, your Raw, your SmackDown. Them days are. I think we're going back to. Oh, and I say a lot, old school wrestling. On a Monday night, what happened on Raw and used to follow, remember SmackDown used to be on a Tuesday, used to follow to the next night, and the storyline just carried on. Yeah. It seems to me the way WWE, I don't know what you think, mate, it seems to me the way WWE are telling stories now, they're kind of getting back to that old school. What happens on Monday, you've got to tune into NXT. What happens on NXT, you've got to tune into SmackDown. What happens on SmackDown, you've got to watch a pay-per-view. What happens on the pay-per-view, you've got to watch Raw. And do you think it's kind of getting back to the way that we kind of knew wrestling storytelling?
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. That's how I see it anyway. It's got to go back to that old way. So you got to make it, and you got to make it so the endings make you want to do that. But yes, that is exactly where they're going with it, I think.
Yeah, no, it's just hope TNT Sport can let us see the ending of a show.
Yeah, we got the end of this one, okay, but
we got the end of NXT, but maybe not Raw. I don't know. I have to pay some bills or something and get off air quite quickly. It was another good couple of shows, mate. I can't wait. I think next week's going to be Fastlane's going to be good. I know you boys are obviously going to AEW's. Me and you record this on Wednesday. AEW's tonight. It's going to be good to see Adam Copeland there and what's moving forward and his storyline. And next Tuesday, just enjoy next Tuesday. It's going to be really good.
We will.
Yeah, I'm going to love it, mate. We're going to be a lot of reviewing next week, mate, but we'll get through it.
Oh, we will. We always do.
We'll get through it. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our Raw catch-up and our NXT catch-up. Adam, I know you're back with AEW later on this week.
With Fiona tonight.
You're with Fiona doing the NWA stuff, and then we've got some AEW stuff coming up. Me and you need to squeeze in a Fastlane and a SmackDown review, all while going to Jurassic Wrestling. I'm actually seeing you on Sunday. I'm driving down to Enemy Town. I'm going to Essex. I'm going to Essex.
Going
Essex, bro. I'm going down Essex, bro. I want to go Lakeside. But I'm seeing you you. I'm seeing you on such. I don't know how we're going to squeeze this in, but we'll be back
We'll
with our
do
WWE reviews. We'll do it. Like I say, Adam will be back with his NWA review with the amazing Fiona, and then the AW boys will be in tomorrow, no doubt, having their digs and talking about what's been going on. But love them boys to death. Make sure you check us out on social media at HTT Buckle on Twitter. Till next time, everybody, buckle down. Stay safe.